Why, oh why, do I feel the urge to shoot these videos at 4:05 in the morning when my energy level could not be lower? It's a mystery. I'm not sure what the answer to that is. Last few days have been interesting. Got my tattoo done, finally. Been thinking about getting a tattoo since I was, 13, 14 years old. Only took me until my 40th year on this earth. Well, actually, technically, when you turn 40, you're entering your 41st year on this earth. So I guess it took me until my 41st year on this earth to actually do it. But I got it. Right now, it's got this second skin on it, so... ow, ow, ow. Yeah, there we go. Demon chick. So it's kind of, you're kind of viewing it through a little bit of a gossamer film right now, because I have this second skin on there, which is a protective covering. Keeps dust particles and the like from infiltrating, keeps the colors from escaping through, little plasma bursts and so on and so forth. I have a picture here right after it was done. You could see the extent to which I'm fucking done with this, because at that point, I had been sitting there for 8 hours getting that done. It's a lot larger than I originally intended, because sort of realized that because of my gigantic size, it was, I have a much larger arm than most people. So the tattoo had to be larger to fill the commensurate space. And so, yeah. But now I'm scared to lose weight, because now, she'll shrink down. I guess the only solution, if I start to lose weight, because that's such a likely scenario, right, is I'm going to have to bulk up to keep her, fat. So anyway, what did I do today? Today I went on a hike. Yeah. And I got a little cocky on the trail, right? I'm like, you know what? I bet you I could run on this trail. So I decided to start running. Yeah. I did a few little power runs. First one was like maybe a 15-second burst. And then I was like, okay, ooh. That wasn't as bad as I thought, though. So, I'm going to go for it again. Did like a 30-second burst. And I'm like, hell, I'll do it again. Did another little 30-second burst. I'm like, I ran for like a solid minute and some change today, right? Felt real good. I'm like, wow, I still got it. Actually, I never had it, but what little I had, I still got. But now, hours later, my legs are like, hey, man, what did you do to us? They don't like it. They're kind of like they have some buyer's remorse about the whole running thing. They're letting me know, hey, knock that out. Don't be doing that again. I don't know. Maybe I'll torture them some more. I guess running's good for you, right? Bad for your knees. But a little running every now and then, a little cardio ain't too bad for you, I think. The heart pumping a little bit. Keep it in practice, right? That seems accurate. So my last video, I talked about how... Donald Trump, how I expect him to be a fascist and all that stuff. You can go watch the rant. It's all up there. But, what I didn't expect is him to be so bad for business, so bad for the stock market. Like European indices are kicking our ass right now in terms of growth. And I just found out that we had the worst month for consumer confidence or the biggest most precipitous drop in consumer confidence since like 2021. So this February. So, things aren't going good economically right now in America. I mean, obviously, inflation is still out of control. Trade wars are looming, if not happening. egg prices skyrocketing, all that stuff. And, it's real bad stuff. And people were like, a lot of people in the comments were chastising me. Like, I don't know why you thought Trump would be good for business, because he's a terrible businessman. And their evidence that Trump is a terrible businessman is that he's filed for bankruptcy so many times. And I think that that shows there's a little bit of a disconnect between how most people think of bankruptcy and super rich motherfuckers think of bankruptcy. So let me break it down for you a little bit. Like, obviously, if you or I file for bankruptcy, it's because whatever business venture we've engaged in has fucking failed, and we can't pay our debts, and we gotta, we just gotta say, hey, I can't do it. And there's huge penalties and all that stuff. But when you're at the level of a person like Donald Trump, and you have, teams of lawyers and, all that stuff, bankruptcy is not really the last resort anymore. Bankruptcy is just a strategic tool. It's just a thing that helps you to restructure your debt, to shed your liabilities. Because remember, this guy's got his fingers in like 20,000 pies at any given time. One of those pies turns out to be a fucking stinker. He just says, bankrupt that pie. Get that shit out of here. And that just basically protects his fortune from sinking with that fucking ship. And, I got a gnarly bruise right here, by the way. Yeah, you see that shit? Terrible. But, it doesn't really matter anyway, because, look, Trump's a good businessman, but America has a shitty business structure. And the stuff Trump does, sneaky and underhanded as it is just how business is done in this country. And so, by the metrics of American business, he is an excellent businessman. And that's evidenced by the fact that his name's on a bunch of buildings, and he lives in a palace, or he lived in a palace prior to living in the actual fucking White House. He owns a bunch of shit. His name was associated for the longest time with luxury and prestige, until he decided to instead associate it with now it's not so prestigious. But for a long time, the Trump name was synonymous with prestige and luxury and opulence and wealth. Now it's more, associated with being a blithering dumbass. But that's fine. They're actually a much bigger market. But, it doesn't really matter, because none of that stuff is the reason that I felt like I thought Trump was going to be good for business and the stock market and such. I thought Trump would be good for business in the stock market, not because he's an excellent businessman, which I think he is by the standards of this country, as I just stated. I thought he would be excellent for big business, because Republicans prioritize big business above everything else. Increasingly Democrats do as well, but the Republicans are much more naked and brazen about it. They're much more willing to just wear it right on their sleeve. And, that's, I think, been demonstrated by this recent Republican budget resolution that just passed today, which is very likely to cut something like $800 billion from Medicaid over the next decade. Something that virtually no American agrees with, by the way. You look at opinion polls across the spectrum. Democrats don't like it. Republicans don't like it. Nobody fucking likes it. But it looks like it's probably happening. Now, the budget resolution does not explicitly state we're going to take money from Medicaid, because they wouldn't pass something like that. But it calls for all these cuts. And when people look at where the cuts could come from, Medicaid seems to be the absolute most likely place, because they're probably not going to cut it from the Pentagon, right? These people pass huge defense authorization acts every fucking year. So Medicaid, SNAP programs, food stamps, so on and so forth. that stuff's going to get cut. And remember, 72 million Americans get their health care coverage through Medicaid. So this is a pretty sizable chunk of the population that gets their Medicaid that way. And even the people who don't have Medicaid for their health coverage probably have family members that have that for their health coverage. And none of us want to see that cut. In fact, I think the amount of Americans that do want to see it cut is so insignificantly small that it's barely worth mentioning. I mean, other than the Republicans in Congress, I don't know if there's anybody. Well, there's certainly a few, but it's almost too negligible to even contemplate. There's also almost certainly going to be tax cuts for the super rich. I've seen some figures tossed around. I've had trouble actually verifying those figures. Kyle Kulinski's been out there tossing around some figures. $1.1 trillion in cuts for the top 1%, and tax increases for the bottom 95%. Now, I don't know where he's getting those figures. I looked. I couldn't find anyone else saying that. I'm not saying he's wrong. I've known Kyle to be a policy wonk in the past, but I can't figure out where the hell he's getting that from. And I mean, a lot of this stuff hasn't even been decided yet. You know, there's committees that have to be formed to decide where cuts are happening and so on and so forth. So I'm not really sure how he's come by that information or what he bases it on, but that's what he's saying. But even if his figures aren't correct, it does seem almost certain that we're going to see big tax cuts for the rich and big slashes to all the social safety nets that so many Americans rely on, right? And I don't really think that's what most Trump voters actually voted for. You know, Trump, especially in his first term, actually fought the Republican Party to, you know, not cut things like Social Security, Medicaid. But now it seems like that Trump, the Trump that needs to still win elections, that one's gone. And the new Trump is like, cut what you want. Cut it all. I don't care. I'm not up for re-election. Although he does keep hinting like, ooh, what about a third term? What about a third term? It's like, you ain't going to live through your fucking second term. So I wouldn't worry about a third. I also heard of an interesting anecdotal story today. I want to put the little grain of salt in your head of like, oh, this is anecdotal, so don't, you know, obviously take it with a grain of salt and all that stuff. But I did hear an anecdotal story about a prison guard who was talking about how their prison is woefully understaffed. And so one of the things the prison started doing was it started offering sign-up bonuses to people who wanted to become prison guards. And I guess the Doge cuts have forced the prison to no longer offer those sign-up bonuses. So they've lost their ability to incentivize people to become prison guards. And a bunch of the current guards are already talking about leaving. And I don't know if that's the story at prisons across the country or if that's just the story at this one prison. I would imagine it's probably more systemic than that, but I don't know if it's universal. But it seems like, you know, if that's at all systemic, which it seems very unlikely to me that it wouldn't be, then that's going to lead to some disastrous things happening. You know, I mean, our prisons are already crazily overcrowded and apparently understaffed. And apparently about to be more understaffed. So you're going to have a crazy, insane ratio of guards to inmates in the very near future, especially if all Trump's, you know, tough on crime stuff is true. And that's probably going to be pretty goddamn disastrous. So I don't know. Maybe something will be done to remedy this situation in the near future. But this is America, so I wouldn't count on it, right? You know not to count on it. But, you know, hey, just another thing you might want to be aware of, something that only entered my awareness today. And you might want to look into that situation yourself. See if there's anything a little bit more concrete than just my anecdote. But like I said, this is just something I heard today. Decided to pass on to you. Thought it was juicy enough for that. Read an interesting article today about how trans people are starting to arm themselves. And the article was actually kind of crap because that's how it presented itself. It's like, oh, trans people arming themselves. But when I actually looked at the article, it was really more about one trans person that had decided to arm themselves. And that would have been fine if it had been framed like that, if it was more honest framing, trans woman empowered by guns or whatever. But that wasn't what it said. It said trans people, like this is a big thing across the spectrum. And there's, if there is evidence of that, it wasn't presented in the article. But I do want to mention one thing I read in the article because I did love this line. It said, she believed Republicans were playing on fear to stoke transphobia, so she thought trans people should play the game back. They're going to fear us no matter what, she said. So let the fear come from a place of reality. I wish more people had that mentality. Oh, yeah? You want to do a fear campaign against me? All right. I'll show you how fucking scary I can be, bitch. I guess I have nothing else to say about that. But I did want to say something about, I was scrolling through Twitter. I should have probably saved the tweet, but I don't really want to make it about the specific tweet because I think that defeats the purpose. But I saw a tweet, and the tweet was some streamer chick, don't remember her name, whatever. Some streamer chick was like, we need to get perverts out of gaming, because these super sexualized games, these games that sell on sex appeal are empty and bereft of substance and blah, blah, blah. And and I'm looking at her and she's a total fucking thought, right? And behind her is a life-size Lara Croft, one of the most sexualized characters in video game history. Like when I was growing up, she was the hypersexual video game character. And I'm just like, what are you fucking talking about? And I guess that, this is coming out of the same space that was once Gamergate. Like, wasn't this what you guys were fighting Anita Sarkeesian on? Like, have you guys come? Maybe you should apologize. Maybe Gamergate should go apologize to Anita Sarkeesian. Like, you know what? You were right. Being puritanical and fucking uptight is actually pretty cool. I don't get it. Last I checked, big tits are good. Giant butts that jiggle around while your character runs are good. I feel like those things are good things. I mean, at least for the right game. I'm not saying every game should be that. If you're playing Super Mario Brothers, obviously his butt shouldn't be... Well, maybe. I don't know. Never mind. I'm defeating my own argument in my head here now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe Mario's butt should be fucking bobbling around. But this got me thinking, though. I was about to, oh, you're a stupid bitch. And then I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Because really, rage bait is so lazy. 90% of it is lazy shit. Because 90% of it is just like, this just in, dumb retard says stupid thing. And then everyone's got to look at it, look at the stupid thing, and be like, stupid thing, eh? How stupid is this thing? Yes, I agree. I share the consensus that stupid thing is in fact stupid. I also think stupid thing is stupid, yes. Or sometimes they'll be like, I know a lot of people are saying stupid thing is stupid, but I actually think stupid thing is pretty smart. And that dumb retard is actually a smart genius. But really, no matter what side you find yourself on in one of these little things, you're the fucking dumbass, right? You're dumber than the person who said the stupid thing, whether it's stupid or not, because at least they said something. They said a thing. You're just a reactor. You're just, oh, dumb. Ooh, actually kind of smart. Either way, you're just feeding on their content, on their hot take. Whether it was dog shit or actually kind of fucking subtly nuanced, whatever. You're just the reactor. That's all you are. You're just the person who's supposed to rubber stamp it. Smart, stupid, good, bad. I just think the world would be a better, maybe not the world. Let's not go too far with this. But social media would be a better place. If we could maybe look at something that's stupid, and instead of being like, dumb, we were just like, scroll. You know what I mean? If the whole world saw stupid, like, the same way you'd react if, like, someone in your family said some stupid shit. You know, occasionally you might be like, that's dumb. That's dumb, Grandpa. But a lot of times you're just going to be like, all right, whatever. He's old. He's old and dumb. What are you going to do? Right? Why can't we do that with this shit? I don't know. I think maybe we should, though. I think maybe we need to exercise the scroll finger. Just don't care. Oh, a stupid thing that pisses me off. Oh well. Scroll on to the next thing. Don't necessarily need to commentate. I know. You can say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Actually, I may be the only one on this. I don't know. You let me know on that. I guess the only other thing I want to say is that I'm really sad that I haven't got to use my set in a while. I mean, obviously this is kind of a set too, but my set with the green screen windows and all that stuff, where I'm standing and I'm, you know, sometimes I have a staff, and sometimes I wear a wizard hat and all that stuff. I'm sad that I haven't got to use that in a hot minute. And the reason I haven't, because that's where I do my scripted stuff. I like to perform my big scripty videos in front of that setup. And the reason it hasn't happened in a while is because first, it's just like been, one thing after another. First, I was sick with the flu for like a week and some change. And then it's like, as soon as I was recovered from that, there was snow storms and shit. And, but now I guess, I have that access again to that. So I'm hoping that this weekend or maybe even sooner, I'll have a chance to shoot some stuff on that set and get some of my more scripted, slightly more polished content out there, and not this off-the-cuff kind of shit that I'm doing right now. But I don't. Some of you like this stuff. Some of you are like, ooh, I like the rambly stuff. So, whatever. We can always mix it up. Doesn't have to be all one thing. It can be this thing sometimes. It can be that thing sometimes. Can be both things. I think there's room on this channel for a mix of both fucking elements. I hate how I always put an L in both. I gotta stop that. Both. My mouth wants to put that L in there so bad, that both. Anyway, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. End of video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, let me know by leaving a comment down below. Give it a thumbs up. Do all that stupid engagement shit. Blah, 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 blah. You know the drill.